Hello all and welcome back to another free flow, and in this one we are going to be discussing Endless Blading Frames, and specifically the Trinity mounted ones they just released about a month ago. I decided to get myself a pair and give them a test run and go through all the things I like in a frame and see if they sort of meet the requirements. And after skating on them for about 2 or 3 weeks, I can 110% say they meet every single requirement I look for in a frame. Now obviously you guys will want to know what I look for in a frame, so here's what I look for. The first and most important thing to me when it comes to a frame is the overall stability, and this was a huge one for me considering I live in a city such as Brisbane where there's so many hills to go down, which I absolutely love. I want a frame that will keep me nice and steady as I'm going down those hills, and Powerslide's always done well for me, but these Endless Blading frames are nothing more than perfect when it comes to bombing down hills, being stable, and overall just being comfortable at the higher speeds and general skating. I haven't had a single issue with them in that regard, and I could not be happier with the stability of these frames. The second requirement is the overall toughness of the frames. And by toughness, the main thing I'm referring to is jumping, and specifically landing, because it's a massive thing with this type of skating I do. I'm practicing jumps almost every single skate I do. So this one was a big one for me, and overall, these things are absolutely amazing. They're super responsive, super steady, and I haven't had a single issue when it comes to jumping or landing. So that was a very, very good positive when I got these frames. And the third and final requirement I look for when I have frames is the overall quality of the frames, which is obviously super important. And I must say I am nothing but impressed on the overall quality of these Endless Blading frames. Like I said, they're super tough, they're super steady, and they're super responsive, so there was no issues in that regard. And just as a side note, an issue I had with the Powerslide Trinity frames was the bolting system, and what I mean by that is if you did them too tight, it would actually stop the wheel rotation of your wheels and it would constantly get worse over time. But if you did it too loose, it felt like the bolt was always going loose and it felt like it was always going to fall out. They'd be rattling, and I've always had a big issue with that. But these Endless Blading frames thus far have been absolutely perfect. I don't do them up that tight at all, and they are steady as hell. I haven't had a single issue with a loose bolt, which makes me so happy because that was a constant thing I was worrying about when I was skating on the old Trinity frames. And the last thing I must say about these frames is they are just overall a sexy as hell design, and I decided to get the black ones regardless of whether I get scratches on it or not because they're just so clean looking. I went with the 90/110 because it just fits my foot the best. Personally, 4x90 has done nothing but wonders for me, and I don't think I'll be switching over my frame setup anytime soon unless I want to try out the 3x110 flat setup. Which also reminds me of the constant question that I see people ask, and I also ask this question myself, and the question is the rocker noticeable when you're skating? And to that I would say absolutely not, especially down hills, which was my biggest fear when it came to that balanced rocker. I thought it would sort of affect how you'd bomb hills, but no, not at all. It pretty much doesn't exist when you're going down hills. But it's amazing how much it helps when it comes to slalom skating, doing 180s, and doing turns. Because of that tiny little rocker at the front there, it makes everything easier and it makes you a bit more maneuverable when you're on skates. And that's pretty much everything from me, guys. I'm super happy with these frames. I can't wait to see what I can do with them in the future. And I'm going to leave you guys to the rest of the video and just let you enjoy the rest of my time on the Endless Blading frames so far. So thanks guys for watching, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Test complete.